Okay, so we're here on a job site in a historic district in Pinckney of Lawrence, Kansas. And this particular house is from the 1880s. It was last painted in 1991, and we're back to do some refurbishing. And I picked this window out because it has some issues where epoxy repair was needed. Although I do want to emphasize that this is the only window in this condition on the whole house of like 25 or 30 windows, and epoxy repairs are things that I do on modern windows as much as old, but sometimes even the old windows do succumb. Okay, so we have some corner trim here on our 1880s house that has suffered some rot at the bottom, and at the window right here I see a little rot just starting. And the first step in repair is to dig out the loose, soft wood and put in a epoxy wood hardener to firm that perimeter up. And you can see this is pretty soft. I'm just going to start digging away a little bit. The important thing for a person to remember when they're working with this epoxy product is to go ahead and dig out what you feel is loose, and then try to go just a little bit further, because that dry rot has extended a little further into the surface than you think. And if you don't do that, where epoxy solutions will fail is you'll come back later and the epoxy patch that you did down here is good, but now there's some rot up here. And the best way around that is to be pretty active in digging out the material that's affected. Now the mix of the wood hardener is kind of like the putty. It's just 50-50. Of the two parts. Just a cheap chip brush will mix the two components together. And it's a pretty thick consistency. And the main thing is to saturate the perimeter of what you're going to patch. Work it up in there as much as you can, and it'll penetrate into the perimeter of the wood that's going to be repaired. If you try to epoxy without doing the wood hardener, your patch will fail. Let's get the underneath side of this too while I'm here and get this sealed up. This will also work great if you have wood components that you're concerned might suffer damage but haven't yet, like say old window caps that are bare and just need some attention. This could be an extra little maintenance step you could do prior to painting. And I would say it's good to hit everything once and then hit it again. Really try to douse the substrate. Okay, so we'll just let that dry, and it'll be ready for patching on another day. The next thing we're going to do is mix up the actual epoxy patching compound, and we'll fill all this damaged area here just in one swoop. It's important to go 50-50. Epoxy works best as far as curing out and drying at 70 degrees or above. I'm just kind of gauging from my eye here. That looks about right. If you try to do it in cool temperatures, it doesn't cure out very well. On warm, non-humid weather, you could sand it the next day. In November, you might have to let it sit a week. So it's not a very good late or early season product. It's somewhat expensive. This repair I'm doing here, well, this probably represents about $10 or $15 worth of material. You don't want to mix more than you need. I may just have. And you've got about, I'd say, 5 to 7 or 8 minutes of working time once it's mixed. If it starts feeling hot, it's curing. And due to the nature of the properties of epoxy, a bigger portion of epoxy will start heating up and curing out quicker than a smaller portion. So we're just about ready to go here. We have you can see from the color consistency, the white and the beige has been mixed to a light cream color. So what we're going to do is just start fitting it in here, and at first, the main thing is to just poke that in just as far as we possibly can. And wear gloves. Back in this way. And we're going to overfill it a little bit, because one of the great things about this product is once it's cured, it sands really well. And so that's how we'll achieve our profile. Once that epoxy's in there, water can't penetrate it. It's good to go for a long, long time. So now we have a cured out portion of epoxy that's really been a major repair. 2 pieces of sill, a side trim piece, and a piece of siding would have all needed to be replaced at minimum to duplicate what this epoxy patch repair has done for us. So now all that's left is to sand it into a nice profile. This product profiles and corners great. I go ahead and use a 60 grit sandpaper. There's no sense going after this with a fine. You wouldn't want to do less than an 80 grit. The quicker it chews through, the better. And of course, it's important to wear a mask, so we want to do that. And we want to use a good quality mask. We'll just see how nicely this sands up. That's repaired and good to go for a long, long time.